Hey everyone, this is Sunbro, and this is the long overdue um, Iron King DLC items episode. Um, First off, I want to mention that this isn't going to be as complete a one as before, because for one thing, the souls have more than one thing they can make, except for Smelter, which literally just makes the same sword. They didn't even make the blue sword, which would have been pretty cool. Um, and I wasn't able to collect all the items because some of the items you can literally only get by luring the barrel guys over to a wall and then exploding them, and they would not be cooperative. So I'm going to list those items that I missed. So first off, I'm going to start off with something that I have but don't have the item for, and that is the Soul of Nadalia Bride of Ash. To get this, you have to use all 11 smelter wedges to get, to destroy all 11 ashen idols placed throughout the area, and also defeat the Foom Knight, because he also has one on him. So, once you have all 12 shards in total, it'll make Nadalia's soul, which I haven't shown for you guys yet, so I'll read it now. Soul of Nadalia, Bride of Ash, who renounced her flesh and wandered Broom Tower. In the act of dancing, the Bride of Ash was transfigured as smoke, enticing people to her excuse me, residence. And so her seat of power came to be known as the Broom Tower. Wonder's soul of this augur of solitude can be used to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. And it can actually create two things. It can create the pyromancy outcry, which I was going to create with it, but I don't know if it's a glitch or if you need to spend souls there or something, because I know Strayed unlocks more stuff when you give him souls. But I couldn't, he didn't sell Outcry for me, so I can't get it. But Outcry is a pyromancy, and it is the strongest version of Firestorm. And it takes up 2 attunement slots, has 2 uses, and yeah, it's just a black flame version, basically, of Firestorm. So it's extremely strong. And then the other thing that you can make is go to Weaponsmith Ornifex, and you can create the Chime of Screams. And while I talk about that, I'm going to equip the things that I got from the DLC. Well, at least the one thing. But, let's see. Chime of Screams. Sacred Chime forged from the soul of Nadalia, Bride of Ash. Nothing appears sacred about this frightful design of this chime, but it does have the benefit of raising one's faith. And I'll get to that in a second. This oozing frozen iron, or the oozing frozen iron forming the bell, seems to anticipate a scream. And like I said, you get it from Ornifex. It scales B and B with Lightning and Dark. And it starts off with 150, 150, or 158, 158. And its max of +5 is 190, 190, so, which is Lightning and Dark. So it's not a great chime, so I recommend that you go with the Pyromancy instead. But as for raising faith, it's only really good for low faith, because when faith, it goes off of faith current scaling, so when faith is at 50, it'll give you 2 points, but when your faith is down at like the lowest it can be for a character, which is 5, it ups it by 8, so it varies at least a little bit based on your scaling. Oh, and by the way, even if you imbue these, their max is only going to be 218 for its main stat that you imbue with, either dark or whatever. Yeah. And its requirement is 26 faith. At least I think. I don't know. I lost the screen. There's that, and then fire snake. Okay. And then these are 2 of the pyromancies. And the pyromancy hand, though. Got it. Okay, so this is a weird one. This is Dance of Fire. Basically creates a firewall in front of you. I don't see the use in it, like, at all, really. It's just weird. And then there's Fire Snake, which I find very useful. That is not the right attack. Yeah! And it just creates columns of fire in front of you, in a line. Yeah, so that one's really nice. That one takes up 2 attunement slots, though. But it's still really great for doing tons of damage to a large enemy in front of you. I don't see a use for either of them in PvP. More so Dance of Fire, actually, but only if you're in a very enclosed space and you don't want, and the enemy is, like, going to sprint in at you, because you can literally block their path that they're running in. And there's also one more spell, because that's what I'm trying to go over first. And that would be Recollection. That's what it is. And I'll just read that to you. Hex created by the Child of Dark. Fire multiple dark orbs that seek their target. Hex that grant a fleeting violation, or... I'm reading the wiki, and sometimes people misspell stuff. Anyways, existed since ancient times, and it appears that the Child of Dark... Yeah, the grammar is bad. Some recollection of the creator of these spells. You just, yeah, fire a bunch of dark orbs that seek their target. It has 6 uses, requires 35 intelligence, 30 faith, uses 1 slot. Yeah, so it's just kind of like Affinity, kinda. And then next up, I'm going to do rings. I have one equipped already, the Simpleton's Ring, which, if you've watched, you know, turns you into a little smoke puff when you roll. Benefit of that I discovered is that your enemy, whether in PvE or PvP, loses their lock-on with you when you dodge. So it is very effective at dodging spells in PvP, because when you dodge, they'll lose their track on you, and if you roll right before they cast it, they will automatically shoot their spell in a straight line. So if it's a spear, it might still track you later, like a soul spear, but I'm not sure on that. But I know if they're throwing like a lightning spear, which no one would use at this point because of the nerf, you can just roll and it'll just blaze past you. So that if you roll ahead of time, they won't like be able to. It won't be able to track where you're headed. So that's the use of that ring. And that's why I've been keeping it on so long. Ring that I got... well, I guess I can just do this one. Life Ring +3 is another one that's in the DLC. And pretty much all of these I have shown me getting. If you wonder where they are, you pretty much just have to explore. And it ups your health by a lot. I'll actually just equip it to show you. Oh, now I'm heavy. Yeah, so it ups your health by a significant amount. Can't wear the other ones, but when you combine it with the 3rd Dragon Ring, then your health is shot up by a ton. And that's even at 40 Vigor, so I could go up to 50 and then have even more health. And then, I just realized this is going to be super long, me talking about all this stuff, because there's so many items. Is the Spell Quartz Ring +3. and then Flame Quartz Ring +3. So you just have massive amounts of fire and spell defense. And, oh, these are all, how do I have 3? Whatever. Where was it? Here they are. Strength Ring, ups your strength +5 when you're wearing it. Dexterity Ring, ups your dexterity by 5 when you're wearing it. Sorcery Clutch Ring, acts the exact same as Lightning Clutch Ring. So it just reduces your defense and increases your magic you're doing. This one is one I didn't show. This one you can get by the very first bonfire in the DLC, once you've used the Scorching Scepter to get all the elevators going. The little item that is just across a gap from the bonfire. This one is really good if you're just a shield guy, or if you want to use a light shield, but want it to be able to block a lot. And this is actually the ring of the armor I'm wearing, because the Foom Knight is technically Rame. Yeah, it's weird. Rame is his new, or Foom Knight is the name he took on when he went to Nadalia, which is lore stuff. I don't know if you guys actually care about that. But anyway, Ring of Rame the Traitor, which is why he's called that, because he abandoned his duty to go serve her. Reduces stamina loss when blocking with shield. So it's very useful for what I said, basically. Rame was an agile swordsman who served King Vendrick, but after resigning from his post, he reconsidered his way of life and was born again as a stalwart warrior. So, yeah. And the reason I'm not reading some of the other ones is just because they're generic. You know what a life ring is. It has the same description as the other life rings. And that's actually it for those. But I did miss some. Most importantly, well, I actually missed one. And it was one of the ones that I just couldn't get. Is the Dispelling Ring +1. And this ring will go really well with... if you want to be using the, whatever the heck it is, from the first DLC, if I can find it, this thing, Yorg's Spear, because Yorg's Spear reduces all of your elemental defenses by 70, but the Dispelling Ring +1 increases your magic, lightning, fire, and dark defense by 120 points. But it weighs 4 pounds, so it's very heavy, and it only has 35 durability as opposed to 110 for the first Dispelling Ring. But this will basically, wearing this will cancel out all the negative effects associated with Yorg's Spear. And Yorg's Spear is a more powerful version of Santier's Spear, basically, in its moveset. So, if you want to have this weapon without the effects, you're going to want the Dispelling Ring +1. Very annoying to get. So, yeah. There's like a hidden thing that you got to use to blow up a wall. I was trying to read the wiki, sorry. I know this is just a lot of me rambling, but there's so many items, I'm sorry. So that is spells and rings. And for weapons, I wasn't able to collect hardly any of ones that are just like on the ground, like that enemies drop. Same thing with their armor. I really wasn't able, they didn't drop anything. So one of them is this though, Pilgrim's Spontoon, and its big deal is, well, I can't show you, but it can cast. So, oops, yeah. See, I would be able to cast with it, and that is, it has 11, 12 for dexterity, but then it requires 30 and 30, and it only scales with magic and dark, so it's not really useful as much as anything else would be, because it's only doing magic and dark damage as its attacks as well, so purely an elemental weapon. I mean, it's good if you're going with a hex build. It's a really nice spear to have, but aside from that, it isn't useful, really. And then, obviously, there's, like, the plus weapons that you get from the DLC, which I found very odd that they did that, like the Cestus +8 and everything. It's just weird that they did that. Next one is, at least for weapons, is the Umbral Dagger, which you get as a drop from those assassins. And it's good for a dex weapon. It scales S, but its description is a bit misleading. Says 1 true strike with the blade, and your work will be done. But I noticed that its critical is only 130, so it's not even as good for critical as the dagger. So, I mean, it doesn't scale as well, but it requires far higher stats, and then it doesn't have a high enough critical. So if you're going for like parries or backstabs and you switch out, you're going to want to still use the +10 dagger. Especially because the dagger scales to A towards the end. It'll scale E and A, and this scales S, so it'll basically be the same, except for higher critical means more damage, so you're going to want to use that anyway. And then, really there weren't any other things that I picked up aside from the, where is it? The Majestic Greatsword, which you have seen a bit of, and I just realized I have it in the wrong hand. Because if its special abilities are left hand only, like that, and then if you, whoops, there we go, and then, nope, not that. You gotta use the right trigger to do the flip. And then if you can manage to dual wield the thing, then you can do some absurd flip. If you've played Dark Souls 1, it's like when Artorias does the move where he jumps higher than like your camera view can see and then tries to land on you. It's like that, but you don't jump as high. So I can imagine it's very useful for PvP, because not only do you slash in front of you when you begin, it does... it's basically like this when you land, but there isn't as long as a recovery time, so it's very useful. But it's basically only useful for hex builds, because it has 20/20. So, I mean, or you can just be half and half. It don't have to be a hex build, but still, it's just not as useful for everyone as it would be. And another weapon is Foom Sword. Now, this weapon has nothing special with it whatsoever. There is no special moves or anything at all. It's just a strong, really stronger kind of longsword. And it deals physical and dark damage. You use it from the soul of the Foom Knight, or you get it from that. And then the other weapon you can get from his soul is, if I can find it, the Foom Ultra Greatsword. And that one is the extremely large sword that you may have seen Hersey using during the fight with the Foom Knight. And it's two-handed... it has a, how do I put it, like, really, no, I really don't know how to describe it, but anyway, I'll just read the description here. The two-handed parries are placed with a similar counter to the heavy attack. You kind of, like, put up your guard, and then you, like, smash forward, and it can be used as, like, a special. So it isn't as good, really, the Foom Knight stuff, except for the armor. Armor's pretty cool. But yeah, just those two weapons are all you can get from him, and they're both from Ornifex. And then there is Sir Aloon next, which I haven't made his weapon just because I'm low on souls. But it has the same move set as a katana, except for its buff move. You stab yourself, and it deals 500 damage. But then for 60 seconds, you have the flaming buff that he gets when he impales you or one of your summons during the fight, and it increases your damage by a significant amount. But you you stab yourself, so you really gotta have a run up to being able to use it. Easy for boss fights, not as easy for PvP when you do it. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd weapon, and it only has 20 durability, and using the ability reduces your durability by 3. I don't know if that was confusing or not, but um, yeah, so it's just not as great. And then you have the Smelter Demon, which just makes the Smelter Demon sword. It's nothing special. So yeah, I wish there were better ones. But besides that, that's all the boss soul items, including Nadalia's stuff. So then next is armor. And there's the armor for, the sorcerer, which is the assassin that I actually said. Um, and then Rame set, Loon set, and you can also get the Minotaur helm, which I didn't get, but it's not really worth mentioning. It's just the bowls that are in Iron Keep that shoot fire. It's just a helmet that's like that. But one thing that I couldn't manage to get, and it is probably the best item in the DLC because it literally makes you invincible to something, um, is the hollow mask or hollow skin. And the item, it adds a permanent guidance effect, which shows developer messages like search your surroundings, stuff like that, which will help you find walls, fake walls, and everything like that. And it also has a curse resist of 1,000. So it basically makes you immune to curse when you're wearing it. And it literally makes you look like you were Hollow from Dark Souls 1, basically. Like you're just super cracked out and have like tumor on your head. Well, on your right eye where it would be. It's very odd, but yeah, it's in a place that I couldn't manage to get to. It's in a you gotta blow up a wall to get to it. Well, there's an illusionary wall set into the side of an elevator that goes up, but I could never find where it was. Yeah, and I apologize. I did already, at least I thought I did, that I don't have some of these items, but so I can actually show you them. But the wiki kind of tells you where things are, so yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry if this is a bit dull. I couldn't think of any way to do this. There's just so many items. Pharaoh's Mask, which a lot of people are calling the Giant's Dad Mask. This is pretty good in that it ups your fire resistance by 100, but since it's leaking water, tears flow from the mask, drenching its wearer. It also makes you weaker to lightning by 100. So it's really good for the most of the DLC basically, but if you're fighting lightning opponents, it's something you do not want to use. So wear it if you need fire resistance is basically it. And I guess I'll just go with the Rame set, which is kind of talks a little about the lore. Helm worn by the Foom Knight, the rebel Rame after his defeat at the hands of Velstadt, which I think is kind of interesting because Velstadt is like a million times easier than this guy, came to Broom Tower to seek greater strength, so I'm guessing he found it. Which it says he did, though. When he found it, it came from a regal father figure like before. or sorry, not like a regal father figure from before, which is Vendrick, basically, but from a newfound mother who gave him true purpose. And that is, well, I don't know if he had the other one before, but it says, at least for the description for the sword, I didn't read it, but that he made this sword from her spirit, so. But his large sword is the bigger one, so I don't know how he got much stronger just from this sword, but anyway, so that's just basically it. But it's an extremely good set. Like it weighs 13.6, and if you compare it to King's armor, which is what I was wearing for the DLC, even at +4 and only weighing 1.6 pounds more, this is significantly better armor. So I'm probably going to be upgrading this, and it definitely looks really nice. Next armor is the Alloon set. And where is the... Here, and... Here we go. And that's the one from the Sir Alloon boss. You get both of these armors. Oh, no, wait, not from there. From the Merchant at Iron Keep, the same one as for the Dragon Covenant. And they cost a significant amount, but they are very, very good. This armor doesn't have very high durability, but it has low weight, and it also scales pretty good. Well, I mean, most of them scale pretty well. All the torsos scale with A, but it has no requirements to wear it like some other armors do. But yeah, it's just good when you upgrade it. It's very light and very tough when you end up upgrading it. So it's definitely something that if you're going for light but want good defense, this is really probably the best you're gonna get. At least as far as I can tell, it's the best you're going to get. And I think that is it. I mean, there are some things that I don't have, like you can get the Ashen Warrior's sword, the little ash guys that pop up from the ground. The floating armors with the glowing swords and their great bow, you can get those. You can get something called a smelter hammer, but I don't know what that is. I thought it was made from the Smelter Demon's new soul, but it's not. I guess it's an... Oh, sorry, it's the giant guys with the huge maces. It's their hammers. Majestic Greatsword, which is something I already showed. Umbral Dagger. Blue Dagger, which is something I could not find. Pilgrim's Spattoon. Bewitched Alloon Sword, which is this guy's sword. And then the Chime of Screams is the only other weapon. But I guess the last thing I'll read off is the blue dagger. Dagger used by Foom sorcerers. Oh, that's their other hand weapon besides the Umbral. Oh, I just realized I forgot the crown. I'll do that. And it drops from them. An ordinary-looking dagger laced with spell strengthening force. Its effects is it increases spell damage by all spells by 5% when held in the opposite hand. So it's okay, but it also decreases fire, magic, dark, and lightning resist by 200. So it's basically not worth it. And its stats are nothing special whatsoever. It doesn't do great damage or anything like that, so it's just not anything to use. And then the last thing, I don't know how I was forgetting, it's literally the name of the DLC. And if you've waited this long to see it, I'm sorry. Should have started with it. I found out its effect. It's pretty stupid, but I found it. Where is it? You. If I would bother to wait here 2 minutes, then I would to show you, but it doesn't even look right. The effect for this is that every 2 minutes it gives you back 20% of your spell uses. So it is solely good for casters, and much better for casters that have a high amount of a single spell with with multiple uses. So if you have a lot of lightning spears, because if you have 7 of them or 8, that'd be 6 you can get in 2 games. So that would be 30 at least now after the nerf. Then you would regenerate those very, very fast as you're going through an area. So it, at least in terms of waiting around, it reduces the need for amber herbs and other items such as twilight herbs and wilted dusk herbs that need to be used to get your spells back. So you can just stand around forever with this thing, and every 2 minutes it'll create a effect around you, and then you'll notice your spells will go up. So yeah, that's it. Really the most useful things in the DLC, I would say at least, would be Fire Snake. Also, this sword is extremely good if you have High Dark. It's probably something I will upgrade at some point. And then the 2 armor sets, including the one that I'm currently wearing. Oh, the effect that just happened then. Yeah, see, my spells are back. Yeah, so Fire Snake is great. Dance of Fire, not so much. And Outcry is also very good if you can get it. Dispelling Ring is good. Hollow Mask, or Hollow Skin, is probably the best because it makes you immune to Curse. So areas of the game that are, dealing Curse are not going to affect you at all whatsoever. Would have been great for Dark Souls 1 with Seath. The Crown is not good, really, at all. It's pretty cruddy. And then all the others are kind of situationally good. Like, if you're Hex, then it's good for, like, the Majestic Sword and stuff. And then the Rame set and his ring are decent. I think this ring, the Simpleton's ring, is probably one of the best, though. So anyway, I'm sorry that this was super long and super rambly, but I couldn't think of a way to do this otherwise. There were just so many items, and I couldn't get them all because they're just stuff. And also, if you see a cracked wall anywhere in the DLC, try to lure a guy next to it, because there's also you can get the chest and the legs for the onion bro somewhere, and there's also apparently a treasure chest that has 8 petrified dragon bones in it. So those are things. So I guess they want you to have the full onion bro set. I wish they had Solaire's set in the game. I'd hunt for that for days, but anyway, I'll stop rambling. This video is far too long as it is, over half an hour long. So, thanks for listening to me ramble. If you have any questions about any of these, I'll leave a link to the wiki in the description. If you really want to know where to get certain things, because I was not descriptive about it. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed my rambling. Remember to praise the sun. And I will see you all next time.